Much like the draft video for last season, I don't feel like it's necessarily appropriate to start off with my normal intro, acting kind of happy and jovial. That's not the current situation here in Montreal, is it? Last year we lose in the Cup final in 7 games. This year we lose to Buffalo in the first round in 6. And it's yet another playoff disappointment. And it puts me into the same situation that we've been in before. I mean, really, let's be honest. At the start of this series, the question was, how soon are you going to fix certain problems, also known as certain contracts, maybe like Jeff Petrie or Carl Elsner or Andrew Shaw? How quickly are you going to fix those situations? And of course, my answer was, let's take some time and see if we can get it to work out. End of the first season, heading into the very first offseason with the team, kind of struggled to put a team together. I felt like we did a half-decent job of putting a team together, getting the likes of Darnell Nurse and Derek Forbort. And now here we are, where again, those contracts are going to be a factor. Now, I'm going to offer Max Pacioretty as much as I can possibly offer him, because we are pretty much out of extension dollars. This upcoming offseason, oh God, this upcoming offseason, I don't know what we're going to do. We might lose players we don't want to lose. Of course, the one upside is a lot of the players are RFAs, so we might get some compensation at least. I do not know what this team is going to look like, guys. I don't. I truly don't. Whether or not I can keep this team competitive, whether or not we can go much longer without trading Shaw and Elsner and quote-unquote... here's the thing, right? Still, I'm always going to play through these modes the way I want to, and the way I feel like makes it most interesting and, exciting to watch, so to speak. But there's no denying we are going to suffer for as long as we have certain contracts on this team. Like, that's just a fact. It really is. And it will continue to be a fact, I can imagine, for a while. The good news is Max Pacioretty did decide to re-sign, which is good. So maybe in the upcoming draft, we look at moving certain players if we can at that particular time. We'll see. I can't guarantee you certain players are still going to be on this team. I can't guarantee anything. We might not be Cup contenders next year. I mean, as long as we have Carey Price, you'd like to think that we're going to be Cup contenders. But, I mean, the cap situation, it's so bad. We really needed to win within the first 2 years. Like, we really did. And then there's the thought, too, and some of you mentioned it in the comments section of the last video, should we get rid of John Tavares? Do we just chalk it up as a failed experiment? Which you could argue... maybe that is the case. Now, the Anaheim Ducks ended up winning the Stanley Cup. The Utica Comets won the Calder Cup. We'll take a look at all of that in a moment. I want to find out the draft order first, although maybe after we do the scouting, maybe we'll take a look. Because I'm still trying to think of how I want to set up our trade block. And actually, you know what? Here, let's take a look. Let's end this season and move on, starting with the lottery results. So the Anaheim Ducks took home the Stanley Cup. They beat Buffalo in the final. Holy shit. Buffalo swept Toronto, beat Carolina in 7, and then lost to Anaheim in 5. So we did at least Al fucking Montoya just carried a team to the Stanley Cup final. I'm gonna lose it. Al Montoya carried that Buffalo team, or correction, that Buffalo team carried Al Montoya to a Cup final. I don't have the words. Let's take a look at Anaheim. We'll take a look at, I think we took a look at the player stats. I think. I might quickly bring up the screen. At the very least, we'll take a look at the awards. So the Anaheim Ducks, your Stanley Cup champions. Not the Atlantic Division. Gotta hit the down button 2 more times. There we go. So, forwards. Corey Perry, 26 points in 24 games, 22 points in 24 for Getzlaf. Good chance we see Corey Perry win the Conn Smythe. 16 freaking goals. That's ridiculous. Rickard Rakell, Derek Brassard, Silverberg, Henrik Sedin won a cup. Sam Steele, Nick Ritchie, Andre Kasha, Kessler, Eves, and Byron Frazee. Byron Frazee. goes from winning. Actually, did we even have him on the Calder Cup team, or did I trade him by that point? Byron Fraze just won the Fowler, Montour, Lindholm, Vatanen, Holzer, and Walensky. Oh my god, that third pairing. And then the goaltender was John Gibson, who had an unreal .929 save percentage. In fairness, Ryan Miller in his 2 appearances did pretty damn well himself. Again, I'll take a look at the player stats from the regular season. I swear we looked, but just in case I've forgotten, I mean, to be honest, it would have been 2 episodes ago. Let's just take a look, though, really quick, at least at the very top there. So there you go. If you wanted to double-check that, now you can. At least the top scores. But let's take a look at the awards. Again, in year 1, it was the Chicago Blackhawks. In year 2, the Anaheim Ducks win the Stanley Cup. Vladimir Tarasenko wins the Art Ross and the Hart. Not too surprising there. Alex Pietrangelo won the Norris. What a year for the Blues. Kucherov wins the Lady Byng. Pierre-Luc Dubois was your Rookie of the Year. John Gibson won the Conn Smythe. Carey Price won the Vezina. I mean, say what you want about our defense and how they might have let Price down in the playoffs, but Price did win the Vezina behind that very same defense over 82 games. The Jennings goes to Devin Dubnyk for the 2nd straight year. John Merrill won the Masterton. Bergeron won the Selke. I mean, his own personal award. Tarasenko won the Ted Lindsay and the Rocket Richard. Down in the AHL, of course, the Utica Comets took home the cup. Derek Roy put up the most points. He was also league MVP. Mike Vecchione scored the most goals. Mike McLeod was the Rookie of the Year. Defenseman of the Year was Ron Hainsey, and Anthony Stolars was the Goalie of the Year. Thatcher Demko, though, the MVP of the playoffs for Utica. Right, that is the 2nd season done and dusted. We are moving on, although the effects of this season could carry on. Like the shockwaves from this season and what's about to happen in the upcoming offseason, it's going to affect this series for years to come. Now, getting a look at the order, Nashville gets the #1 overall pick. They had it from Florida, though, which is interesting. Florida has New Jersey's pick, and then Buffalo has Edmonton's. There was a lot of trades there. 4 of those picks, 4 out of the top 15, are from different teams. That's an interesting order there. We'll get a look at the retired players list. Did we lose anybody from our club? We did not, nor did we lose a goalie, which, again, you would kind of expect. We'll take a look league-wide, though. Goaltenders, Nicholas Backstrom retires. Johan Holmqvist, Mikhail Telqvist, Joey McDonald, Michael Leighton, Jan Denis, and Drew McIntyre all retire. As far as skaters go, Jerome McGinley, who did find work with the Minnesota Wild, retires, as does Radim Verbata. Chris Kunitz, Patrick Sharp, Zdeno Chara finished his career in Arizona. And there are some other names there as well. I'll sort by the games played, but there you have it, the retired players. The trading block. I could definitely set this up in a way to try and get rid of some players, and you know what, let's take a look here. Again, I can put certain players on the block who might have expiring deals, and we might actually be able to get something for them. The goaltending situation we'll figure out later. I mean, I have to see if I can get a deal for Alzner. I have to. So you know what? I think what I'm going to do is I'm probably just going to let teams come to me with offers, which means this draft could go for a while. This might be a lengthy episode. Of course, you'll know at this point. But all I'm going to do is let teams come to me with these offers. Now, if we get an offer for Shea Weber, cool. Jonathan Drouin, Galchenyuk, Price, I'll at least look at it. No guarantee. I mean, obviously, in the case of Carey Price, I'm not going to accept it. But I'm going to let these teams come to me. And, of course, I've used this strategy, in Twitch throwaways. I've used this strategy in Hartford. It was a very prominent strategy in Hartford. So we'll see what happens. To be honest, I don't even think I had to do that with the forwards and defense. But we'll see what happens. We will see what happens, but there's just so much pressure to not make a wrong move. There is a lot of pressure to avoid, because literally one mistake could cause disaster. So we'll see what happens. The trading block is set up. We'll see what kind of offers we get. But regardless, it is time. It is draft time. The year 2 draft. Let's do this. The beginning of what could be massive changes for this team moving forward. Now, as far as the draft goes, of course, this is the first. Oh my God. I've never seen that before. I don't have it sorted, guys. It's literally all Americans at the top of the draft. What the hell? It's literally all Americans. Including, yes, don't think I didn't notice him, Sean Sweeney as a franchise-level player. Now, here's the thing. I guarantee some people would have been like, oh, you should have traded for the first pick before, whatever, trade Tavares. I don't know if I could have done that. Does Nashville want to trade that pick? No, they don't. I would have to give up so much to try and get that pick, I would assume. I don't even know if it wouldn't even be worth. I mean, it would be worth it to get a franchise-level player, but you know, this draft class looks okay. We didn't really have any exact potentials aside from an exact top 6 and an exact top 4, but all Americans, though. That is insane. We scouted out the U.S., but not that much. We weren't able to scout Sean Sweeney. Right. So with Nashville, again, because they don't want to trade that pick, we would literally be talking about having to get rid of John Tavares. Which, in fairness, might be worth it because we do have Drouin and Galchenyuk as our 1-2 combo. Granted, both are designated as first-line players, and that could cause issues. I mean, when you look at the forwards we have, I mean, you know, we got a lot of those guys who don't have the most value, but they might still make it. And then, of course, defensively, it's really nobody. Juleson, Ty Smith is all right, but there's not that crazy valuable player. Of course, you wouldn't expect us to have that type of player, though, because we do have a half-decent team. I put so much effort into making sure that we acquired John Tavares last season. I put so much effort into it. The question is now, do I potentially try to flip it? I mean, what would I have to give up? I mean, we're talking about... I mean, we do still have our first-round pick. We don't have our second. I believe that was the Nurse or the Forbort deal. I don't remember. And as it is, Nashville has certain cap issues, although we could easily clear that up. Let's see, who has 1 year left? Anybody? Because I can't afford to really take on salary right now. Freddie Gauthier? Damn it. Is there anybody else that we could take back in this deal? Again, please, the 1 year deal so that I don't have to take back any salary. That would be great. Please, no. Aside from Gauthier. Carrier? Would Carrier technically count? I could pick up someone like Austin Watson. He's cheap enough. Him, Yarncroke, Soshnikov. I'd rather go with Watson. Again, that still wouldn't do it. It'd be just short. Are you kidding me? Again, I don't even know if I could get this to go through. So say we go after Calle Yarncroke. They'd still be over. Son of a bitch. So we'd have to take back a relatively shit contract to make this happen. Ian Cole at nearly $4 million for 1 year. No thank you. Alright, so what if we take Yarncroke and Soshnikov? We'd have too many skaters. We can rectify that situation. So let's say we give up... Who would we even give up in this deal? Brook? I mean, I could give up Josh Brook. Who else do we have? Ikonen, Cale Fleury, Morgan Geekie. I mean, Brook being 20 years old, only at 59. Maybe we tack him onto the deal? Now the question is, like, how close would this be to going through? And if this player isn't franchise potential, that would be an outright disaster. Obviously, the game is showing that he is, but for anyone who's joined me on live streams, you know I have more than enough reason to doubt this game. Damn. John Tavares for that pick. Would that go through? No. Would that go through straight up? No. I'd have to give up Tavares, Brook, another prospect, another pick. I can't do it. It might be a franchise-level player. I can't do it. And he is. And everyone's going to be yelling at me like, of course he is. Sean Sweeney, 80 overall, medium franchise player. Again, we didn't set our team up to really be going after that caliber of player. And I mean, now you look at that value. It would have been essentially like trading for the franchise-level player anyway. Wasn't meant to be. Just because there's a franchise-level player in the game doesn't mean you have to end up with them every time. We weren't in the right setup to have a great chance at going after that player. Am I going to trade up in this draft, by the way? At this point, probably not. At this point, probably not, because I'm still not committing to rebuilding. I need to see if I can somehow salvage this team and keep us competitive. As long as we have Carey Price, we have to be competitive. Let's see here. Our 23rd pick for a second rounder next year and a third rounder this year. No, thank you. Jonathan Drouin, of course, we'll decline that. Of course, we wouldn't trade him to Toronto. So let's take a look here. Medium top 6, Peyton Krebs. You had Ovestad, medium elite. Hanula, medium elite. Jesus Christ, this draft. Those two picks were great. You had Sidhu, who's still a decent pick. I'm going to say he's Mark Henry because it's funny to me. This was a really good draft up at the top, man. Like this was. Those medium elites, though, earlier on, huh? My God. Garlock, Nolan Foote, Altshuler, great pick. Medium elite, 78 overall. Peltier, you got Atkinson, and then the franchise, Sweeney. All right, let's take a look at who's on the board. How many people are going to be pissed at me for not trading up? People are pissed at me for not getting Rasmus Dahlin. It's like, that's not the point. All right, so as far as who we go for here, again, a lot of this is just shot in the dark. As far as who we have scouted out properly, do we have any exacts? We have 2 medium elites, one in the 5th, one in the 7th, that we'll definitely take a shot on because we do have some of those picks. We'll wait to select them, obviously, and we'll go for more of a guarantee. Now, there is this German defenseman, George Kirka. Two-way defenseman, played for Straubing. We don't know anything about Typalis, Filppula. I mean, he's showing up as high top 6. Jenks is showing up as high top 4. We have him scouted twice. Norm Jenks. There's the dumbest name. Defensive D-man. So do we go with Gurka, who's scouted higher, or do we go with Jenks? I'm going to go with Jenks. And we're going to hope for the best. Played for Krefeld in Germany. Norm Jenks. I'm going to regret this. I should go with Gurka. We're going with Jenks. Medium top 4 to 56 isn't bad. That's not bad, but did we miss out on something more? It literally didn't matter. Kirka was 1 overall point better. So, I mean, obviously Kirka would have been the better pick. You could argue Fitzpatrick at a high top 6 would have been the better selection. I mean, really looking at it, we couldn't have gone wrong. Holy shit, Colorado, are you serious? I have to take it. I have to. A certain section of you guys might not be happy because I'm trading Carl Alsner. The Avalanche are literally offering a first-round pick next year for Carl Alsner. Now, again, he's not the worst defenseman in the world. He actually is a fairly decent top 4 defender. And obviously trading him away right now is going to hurt this team a little bit. It's just that money total. It's just a little bit too high for my liking. It really is. Like, I mean, normally, right now he's showing up as an 80. He's normally an 83. You'd like to pay an 83 overall defenseman like 3.5, 4. Roman Josi makes fucking 4. He's at 4.625. So it's a first-round pick next year, and prospect Philip All, who probably won't make it. And to be honest, I'm going to see if there's anybody else we could substitute him with, just to see. They also ended up with Kirby Datch. They have Timmins and Mellock. Mellock might not be a bad pickup. So there's All. You have AJ Greer. Now, do they want to trade All? Yes, they do. So that's definitely a pretty big difference. You have someone like JT Compher. I mean, AJ Greer wouldn't be a bad pickup. They still have Yakupov. They still have Mellock. 65 overall, 21 years old. All is a 67 at 22. Greer's at least a 76. I'm going to go after Greer, even though they don't want to trade him. But they came to me going after Carl Alsner. I got to do what I got to do. Part of me feels a little bit cheap about trading him, I'm not going to lie. Because that's part of the challenge. But they did come to me with this deal. That's my way of calling it fair. See if we can trade the Buffalo 6 to make this go through. And there we go. Carl Alsner and a 6th to Colorado for AJ Greer. What was it, a 3rd this year and a 1st next year? If I'm not mistaken. We're not going to trade Max Pacioretty. There's no way. We don't have a 2nd round pick, so our next pick is way down here in the 3rd. Let's go ahead and go back through this draft. And also, I think Johnson's been moved from Ottawa to Chicago. I don't know if that's Jack Johnson or Tyler Johnson. Let's take a look at the rest of this draft here. But the big news so far, Carl Alsner's been traded. You have Kirby Datch there. Artukin. There's no major steals. Yes, I'll remember to call a timeout. Let's see, do we have anybody else? Any major steals? Medium starter Kopitz and Ombuhl. Medium starter in Ackerland. Medium top 4 in Kokkonen. Medium elite Bancroft to the Rangers. That's a steal and a half. Again, we didn't have a 2nd round pick, so there was really no way to know. I don't know how I feel about trading Alsner. And Schofield, low elite, the last pick of the 2nd round. Medium elite Metropolitan to frickin' Vegas. That is incredible. What a steal there for the Golden Knights. Low top 6, low top 4. Medium top 4 in Mar. That's a really good pickup for the Islanders. It's a very good pickup. Medium fringe as well. Great round. Great round for Vegas. Medium starter in Roncal. Alright, so let's call a timeout here. Let's call a timeout. My God, I just traded Carl Alsner. Right. And a medium franchise player went first, and I guarantee people were going to want me to have gotten. Let's take a look here. High top 9. Don't know if I can trust that. We got another high top 9. We got a couple of exacts. You got Fedorov. When's that next big-time player? Rodriguez shows up as medium top 4. I mean, we have him scouted 4 times, too. Neil Rodriguez. I might go off the board here. I mean, it is the 3rd round. It wouldn't be the worst time to do so. I mean, he's projected to be in the 4th round. It's either that or I'd probably go for Shields or Zuzan. You know, I'm going to take the risk with Neil Rodriguez, the offensive defenseman. Again, it's a risk. Will it pay off? No, it won't. Medium 7th. Well, the scout that saw him play a couple of times absolutely failed me. The good thing is there were no real steals after the fact. Nikitin probably would have been my pick. He was only medium top 9, so it still feels like a waste of a pick, and it still feels like we're struggling a little bit here, and that we need something to really go our way. Again, I don't trust this scouting, even Sabering. I don't trust it. So let's see, how many picks do we have later on? I suppose that's the real question right now. How many picks do we have moving forward? So I got the 3rd, 3/4, a 5th, and a 6th. All right. So we have 6 picks left in this draft, and at this point we have to go all out for these risky picks, really. I mean, we don't have to, but it might be the strategy that I implore at this point. And that would mean being able to get these first 6 players and just hoping that one of them is an absolute steal. We're going to go with Sergei Zhamnov, the Russian power forward. He's going to be my first pick here. Let's hope for the best. Medium bottom 6, 55 overall. I mean, better than the pick Ottawa made, but again, not quite the steal that we needed. Let's take a look at who else the Sens ended up with there at the end of the round. Lettinen, medium top 4 defenseman. Shit. Can anything go our way right now? Aside, I'm not trading Aaron. I'm not trading for Aaron Dell. Can anything go our way right now aside from, actually being able to move Carl Alsner? Let's take a look. Were there any steals here in the 4th round? Toronto drafts another Nylander. All right, the draft looks to have settled down a little bit. No crazy selections, thankfully. Low top 6 in Fedorov. I imagine his name is Sergei. Anybody else? And Zuzin was medium top 9 as well. All right, so we're going to continue down the path of just hoping for the best here. I mean, right now, as far as who I'd select here, I mean, Saberine's up there. I mean, right, bottom line, this is the time to pick Saberine. Projected in the 5th round, this is the time to take him. Scott Saberine, offensive defenseman. I'll take low top 4. I'll be all right with low top 4. Just don't be lower than that, please. God damn it, we just can't win. We just can't win. The Buffalo Sabres have ruined this franchise, even though we traded Carl Alzner. Again, if it's not exact potential, you just can't trust it. It's a shot in the dark every damn time. We'll just go by potential again here. I mean, we have to hit with one of these, right? Please? I'm going to go with the defenseman Patrick Krejci next. 5th to 6th round projected. I'll still have time to take Leg, Alberts, and Dvorak. So, Krejci is the selection. It's just, I might as well take people who are projected to go next. It's not working for us. It's just not working for us. I mean, thankfully nobody else got a steal, but like one of these players has to be a steal, or can I please fire my scouts? Damn it. Oh my god. Right. Well, he's projected to go in the 6th round. He has high league interest. Matt Legg, the power forward, is going to be our next choice. And he's low top 9. We just can't get a leg up on the competition. See what I did there? Ba-dum-bum. I'm not trading Brendan Gallagher. I'm not trading Pacioretty and McCarron for Bancroft. I'm not trading Gallagher. I'm not trading Gallagher. I'm not trading Gallagher. Bobby Ryan for the 1st round pick next year. No, we don't need that cap hit. Thank you. We just got offered Elias Peterson for Pacioretty, and people are probably saying, like, why didn't you accept it? Lehkonen to McCarron for a 1st. To be honest, that might not be the worst move in the world. Had we not traded Alzner, I would very much consider taking that. Very much consider taking that, because we're going to have a hard time re-signing Lehkonen. But maybe, or we're still going to have a hard time. It might be a little bit more easy this time. This draft seems to have really settled down. I mean, thankfully, in a way, but also that really does suck. Yeah, there wasn't anybody great selected in between our last choice and this one. Again, I could go... It's all shot in the dark, guys. It's all shot in the dark. Although what's weird is that high top 6. I mean, he must be way down there. Okay. So we're going to go with Dvorak. Patrick Dvorak, the grinder. Low elite would be incredible, even as a grinder. Please let this be the steal. I got to scroll all the way back. Come on now. Come on. Be a steal. We need this. Fuck, we just can't win. We just can't win tonight. Sherbak and Nudivara for a 1st. I'm going to decline that. What else do we have here? Sherbak and Nudivara. I'm going to decline that. I am going to look to move some players that I don't know if I'm going to be able to resign, I think. Pascale was low elite. I just saw that, and he was a player I was looking at. Oh, see, this is the trade spam I was worried about. Jesus Christ, Pittsburgh. You want my entire team or what? Good Lord. Couple of low top 9s. Medium fringe. Pascale was low elite. That was the steal here in the 6th round. And if I'm not mistaken, this is our final selection here. Again, that was at the end of the 5th round, so... It's been an awful draft. There's really no two ways about it. The highlight of this draft was being able to trade Carl Alzner. What a highlight that is. We're going to go with Spike Alberts, one of the best names in the history of hockey. Spike Alberts. Can he be a steal? Nope. This has been a miserable miserable draft. This is arguably the worst draft. I mean, I swear, my Twitch chat is... I'm not trading for Dion enough. My Twitch chat has passed on the awful luck to me, to be honest. I was actually hoping to maybe make some trades really quick, but you know what? Let's just go into the re-sign phase and fucking face it head on. Like I said, we have enough RFAs. We freed up some cap space. I actually just got an offer for Peyton Krebs, which is kind of nice. Nurse for Taylor Radish. We'll hold off on that too. We'll hold off on all of this. Damn it. And again, I wasn't sure if that was our last pick, so we're just going to get spammed here. Nurse for Timmins, Second, and Henriksen. Timmins is low top 4. I'm going to decline that. I'm sure I could get more back for Nurse. A first, a spot check, and a 7th. Well, when it comes to potentially getting more back for Darnell Nurse, I mean, again, he's going to look for a big-time contract. I wouldn't mind keeping him, but you're talking a first-round pick. Spot check's not a great prospect. I mean, he did all right, though, in the AHL, did he not? Did he not? I might be thinking of the Hartford series. And he got that 7th round. Do I trade Nurse for a first? I mean, he gave up, what, a 2nd-round pick for Nurse, and now I could get a first-rounder out of him? The question is, how much compensation would I be... I'm going to decline this, because I'd rather... I think it would be a 1st and a 3rd, based on what he's going to be looking for money-wise. I think I'd get more compensation from the offer sheet. And again, I'm sorry for those who wanted to see steals. I honestly wasn't sure. I'm not going to trade for Bancroft either. I honestly wasn't sure if that was my last pick or not. I should have made sure. And to be honest, at this point, whether or not there were more draft steals, I really don't care to know. I really don't care to know. That was one of my worst drafts in the history of any of my series. That was abysmal. I mean, we tried this... I mean, we didn't have much information on anybody. Which, again, we scouted out, what, every region for like 2 weeks each? It's not worth it. It's like you might as well just say, all right, I'm going to aim to get players from only this area and scout them out for 6 weeks at a time. That's pretty much the only thing you can do. Now, we have $7 million in cap space thanks to the Alsner deal. Who do we have as UFAs? Forbort, Chason, Holland, Byron, Kempney, and Ledoux. No goalie UFAs. Okay, so we're good for the moment. Chason we can let go of. I mean, he was a free agent signing. Holland we can let go of. Paul Byron, I love you, buddy, but you're gone. Kempney is gone. So Derek Forbort wants... Let's see if I can get him down to $4 million, and then we'll probably trade him, right? And we'll probably trade him. I don't think he'll stay. And then we have Paul Ledoux, who isn't happy at all, so we'll just let go of him. So we're going to see if we can sign Forbort for $4 million, and then we're pretty much going to offer sheet everybody. Pretty much the only way we can do it until we can figure out what the hell this team's going to look like. And again, as far as this episode goes, guaranteed there's going to be a lot of unhappy people. Oh my God, Forbort. All right, Forbort's gone too. I thought we'd be able to make sure that we brought him back given the circumstances. That's not the case. He's gone. I'm not paying him any more than that. There's no way. So we essentially gave up a 2nd-round pick for him as a rental, and it's just not going to work out. Charlie Lindgren's an RFA. I mean, Foucault is probably going to be the backup this year. Maybe. To be honest, I'm just going to let Lindgren walk. It's risky. I don't think he'll get an offer, though. I mean, if he does, he still wants a 2-way deal. So, I mean, we're not going to get any compensation back for him anyway. I'm going to let Charlie walk. And then either next year, Foucault will be the backup, or we'll sign a backup. And it could be McNiven and Skarek down in the AHL this year. But disappointed with Lindgren. Derek Forbort, we're going to let him go. Nudivara and Valiev. I mean, Nudivara at least developed into a top 6 defenseman. But let's see, would it be worth it to offer sheet? It would be worth it to offer sheet him. All right, so we're going to offer sheet him at the very least. We'll do the same. I could probably just flat out re-sign Darnell Nurse, but I don't really care to. So we'll qualify him as well. We're not going to offer sheet him. We're going to qualify him and hope the teams offer sheet him. Renat Valiev improved. He did improve. We'll try to bring him back. Except he wants a one-way deal, and I don't agree with that. So I'm going to let him go. Our defense is a disaster right now. It is. It's an absolute disaster. And I don't know when it's going to get better. Right wings, I might have to fully blow up this team. I might have to. I mean, we managed to get rid of Alzner. But when you talk about albatross contracts, I mean, Carey Price we can manage. Shea Weber, Jeff Petrie, Drouin and Gallagher's fine. Patrick Galchenyuk are fine. But then Andrew Shaw, it's such a weird starting team. And we're hitting that point where it's like, okay, how soon do we look to just blow it all up? I'm going to offer sheet McCarron as well, or qualify him, I should say. Gustav Postler improved, but I'm going to let go of him. I'm also going to let go of Martin Reway. Again, he'd be under a two-way deal. We wouldn't get any compensation anyway. Left wings, we'll qualify Houdon, and we'll just flat out sign Greer. No, we won't. We'll qualify him as well. Qualify him as well in the meantime. And then centers, Audette, 23 years old. We'll keep him for an extra year. Keep him for an extra year. I cannot believe that draft went that poorly. I'm in a little bit of shock about that, but it's tough with this team, man, and knowing what direction to go right now. What direction do we go in so many different aspects, so many different split paths that we can take. But let's see, in the meantime, we got $7.6 million. Again, there are no more UFAs, correct? And then RFAs, just the players who we're going to let go to open market in the meantime. Which, then again, even then, maybe it's just worth giving them offers and then moving them after the fact. Again, Darnell Nurse might be able to fetch a first. Hashtag rhyming. Charlie Houdon, though? I mean, we might be able to get some decent compensation for him. Lehkonen isn't looking for much, but he's also down because of morale. I'll offer Lehkonen 1.5 mil. Mike McCarron, I'm going to offer him 1.25. We'll see what he says about that. Nudivara wants too damn much. He does. He wants too damn much. And then Greer, potential fourth liner for us this year, will go down to 950K. I cannot believe that draft. That was so bad. That was by far the... I mean, just in general, that draft... Just in general, that draft was pretty rough. I mean, for everybody. Like, there were a couple of steals, but... I mean, we kept swinging for the fence and just kept striking out every time. Every time. Let's take a look again at RFAs. Again, Nudivara, I'm more than happy to let you go to free agency. I'll resign McCarron for what he wants. Nurse, Houdon, and Nudivara, though, we're going to let go to the open market. I don't even know what kind of compensation I could get for Nudivara. If I could even get like a third-round pick, I'll be cool with it. I'm going to look to trade him, too, as it is. McCarron accepted, no real surprise there. Let's sim to the start of free agency. Again, there was the potential of Drew Doughty being a free agent. We'll take a look at the current situation. Doughty isn't, Oliver Ekman-Larsson is. And there are some decent players there, including Puljujärvi, but he is, of course, an RFA. Right, $6.5 million. Now, as far as a backup goes, we could bring in Neuwirth, we could bring in Kemper. We have quite a few options. As far as prospects go, Malcolm Subban's not really worth bringing in at this point. But you talk about someone like Hallinan. So basically my situation right now is, do we sign Neuwirth or Kemper? Or do we bring in Hallinan and let Fukale be the backup? What do we do with our backup goaltending? Do we want a really good situation, or do we want to risk it with Fukale? I mean, I could even bring in, say, a Ryan Miller. You know, Miller, cheap enough. Neuwirth and Kemper, also relatively cheap. Or we could go with Zach Fukale, who was a 76 the last time I checked. All I need to do is, I believe, go up 2 overall points to be a true backup. Otherwise, we put him down in the AHL for another season. Again, Hallinan's not a bad option. Let me take a look at who we have right now. Aside from McNiven, it was Skarek, who I think is also medium French. We're going to go with Neuwirth. We're going to go with Neuwirth. Again, we have to view this from the situation of we need to win and we need to win right now. So I'm going to go with Michael Neuwirth as our backup, more than likely. How did he do last year? Never mind. 883 save percentage in 21 games. Ryan Miller had a 926 in 15. Darcy Kemper had a 911. I'll spend a little bit extra to get Ryan Miller. How about a one-year deal, Ryan? 185. Come back to a Canadian team. See how that goes. Defense. Of course, we're looking for prospects first. And, I mean, it's not looking good. Darnell Nurse is basically the best guy there. He is the best guy there. Of course, Oliver Ekman-Larsson is also available. Right wings, do we have anybody? Puljujärvi and Kasperi Kapanen, both, though, are RFAs. Puljujärvi would cost a small fortune. So, with RFAs, we're going to wait till the preseason to see if they're still there. Left wings, just Charlie Hudon. And then centers, yeah, there's nobody. We have $6 million and no clear direction on what to do with it. Let's take a look at our team at the moment. Again, like as long as we have Carey Price, we have to go for it. So we have Skarek. To be honest, Skarek isn't that great. Only a 56. I'm probably going to sign Holland and then we'll get rid of him or Skarek. So I'm going to go send an offer for Holland. Defensively, I mean, right now we're looking at Weber, Nurse, if he resigns, Petrie, and Nudivara. We only have 4 NHL-ready defensemen. This might be the time that we blow it up. We might have to blow it up. The cap space is so tight with so many of these players. By blowing it up, I mean try to trade Shea Weber, try to trade Jeff Petrie, and be ready for a cup run with Drouin, you know, within his window when he's getting to his prime. We could keep Gallagher too. He'd be one of those fringe players. Try to hold on to Lehkonen, McCarron. We'd be thinking about trading Max Pacioretty because I don't think we'd be ready to win in his window. Galchenyuk, Hudon could stay. We'd probably trade Tavares. Like, again, that draft was so bad for us that we are in such a rough spot. We did whatever we could to get back to the cup, and I mean, I thought, you know, the hope was that John Tavares was going to be that missing piece, and it just hasn't worked out that way. I mean, he's making $9 million, Weber's making 7.8, 6.6 for Patches, 5.5 for Drouin, 5.5 for Petrie, 4.9 for Galchenyuk, 3.9 for Shaw, 3.75 for Gallagher. There was so much money tied up in so many of these players, and then of course the biggest contract of them all, $10.5 million in Carey Price. I just don't know how to approach it. Again, when you look at this team, you know, defensively we obviously need help. So it would be forwards that we'd have to look to get rid of. We could still probably get away with the Pacioretty, Drouin, Gallagher. Let's say Galchenyuk, Hudon, Lehkonen, Deneau, Sherbak, McCarron, Shaw. I mean, you could argue we could get rid of John Tavares, free up cap space for defense. We could bring back Darnell Nurse if we wanted to. Nudivara could play third pairing minutes, although I'll probably get rid of him because he's asking for too much. So the only answer right now seems to be trade John Tavares. That is the only way out of this. It's either we trade John Tavares and try to stay competitive, or we blow it up completely. And I'm not ready to give up just yet. I want to win with this team. So before I forget, let me go send that offer. Let me go send that offer to Hallinan, because there's a really good chance he's going to be one of our 3 AHL goalies this year as long as he signs. We're still going to look to bring in Ryan Miller. And then, again, forward-wise, you could argue we could still use one more piece, but then you look at defense. Who could we bring in? Again, we could try to re-sign Darnell Nurse. We'd have, roughly, $15.5 million in cap space. We'd have Weber, Petrie. We could bring in OEL if we wanted to. If we wanted to, that would bring it back down to... Well, let's see. That would bring it back down to about $6 million. And then we're talking... I mean, God, dude, some of these players want to get paid so much. Derek Forbort's looking for $4.4 million. Like, that is crazy. That is crazy. That's the problem right now with the idea of not rebuilding, is free agent prices are just nuts. Which is why you're seeing Puljujärvi hit the market as an RFA. And Kasperi Kapanen, for that matter. Like I said, there's so many different ways you could approach this. You know what, guys? I think we're going to call it an episode here. Because I want to hear from you. And what you think we should do moving forward. Again, we lose to Buffalo in the first round after acquiring John Tavares, Darnell Nurse, Derek Forbort. We look to make a run of it. We lost. We get to the draft, and it was, again, arguably the worst draft in the history of any of my franchise modes because we just could not catch a break. And the idea of scouting out the CHL didn't really pay off just because there wasn't anybody good in the draft. We are in such a tough spot right now. We could still go for it. We'd have to trade Tavares to do it. We'd still have Weber, Nurse. You could even argue trading Petrie. Or we blow it up. And if we blow it up, we're talking about a long rebuild. We're talking about trading Carey Price, Shea Weber, Jeff Petrie, Max Pacioretty, John Tavares, Brendan Gallagher, more than likely. Regardless, it's a big decision because we're either blowing this team up or we're trading the best player on our team, not named Carey Price. That being John Tavares. So I want to know what you guys think. Let me know down in the comments below what you think we should do. Do we stick to the plan of just go for it at any and all costs and deal with the consequences later, which to be honest is what I'm leaning towards? Or do you think we should blow it up now and aim to be successful in years 6, 7, and 8 rather than years 3 and 4 and the first 2 years, which didn't work out for us the way we wanted? I'm excited to know what you think. I pretty much have a thought of how I would approach it, but on numerous occasions, your feedback has led me down a different path of how I would have probably gone for it. So with that said, I do thank you very much for watching. You know what you have to do to support the video if you care to do so. Links are in the description to Twitter and Twitch and all that fun stuff. And I'll see you guys in the next episode where this team changes in a very, very big way regardless of what we decide to do.